I want to bring home at least one event, like where I see like these are movements that suit me well, and yeah, that would be nice to take an event win. That's like because I think I'm still not balanced out enough to like battle for the real top spots,
Mhm.
but some pieces of my fitness I think are fit enough to bring home one of the 12, 13 events.
Let's just roll. Let's just roll. I was walking with I have a toddler, and it's not really sure when at the daytime he takes his big nap, like, and his
How
big nap
old?
is usually he's 6 months, a little bit over 6 months now, and his big nap is usually like close to an hour. And I was walking outside, and it's half an hour and a half, and I was like, man, I have to get this put to this podcast. Why are you sleeping so
Uh,
much?
it's good. Sleep is good. You should have
But
let them sleep.
yeah, but it turned out good. Man, I'm excited to have you on. How was Berlin, man?
Good, nice. It was a big preparation towards Berlin, and it turned out well. So it's always a relief, and yeah, it's always nice when you plan a long time for something that it turns out well.
Yeah, yeah. How long are preparations? I think. Are you a fan of this regionals kind of style semifinal with all the 60 athletes in one place, or are you more a fan of the two the two splits?
Um, I was waiting in which direction the question goes. It was very new to be with like 60 people. I'm a fan of a regional style, so that everybody does the same workouts because no, there's like no excuse. Otherwise, you can be, if I was in that region, maybe I would have made it. And
Yeah,
now it's like everybody's the same. You can compare a bit with other regions. So in that point of view, I like it. 60 persons is a lot, but in the end, for me, it turned out very well because the scoring system also, like, if you can hit some home runs, that's like very valuable.
yeah,
And in my case, that turned out very well. And if you have like a very bad event, like yeah, your competition is not over. You can come back from it.
yeah. Exactly. That was my thought. Like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into the semifinals, I was like, it's not like in the past you have one really bad placing and you're basically done. But this time you had like, I think some people even had like two like middle of the pack finishes, or I think Sydney Wells didn't even finish an event and still qualified. So that's
Mhm.
yeah, that's interesting. But but I thought today when I walked with my toddler, I had some questions in my mind, and I was thinking more from a point of like, what placement did you take in Berlin?
I finished fourth.
Fourth. Yeah, that's good. But I was thinking like, you know, from 1 to 11 qualifiers. And I think, I don't know if it feels sweeter to take a fifth spot from one of the two semifinals or take an 11th spot, or is
Yeah,
this or is this completely irrelevant to you guys?
I don't know. It was my first semifinal, so I didn't really make the calculations how it would be with the top five, but I think it's a lot stressier going in because it feels like a tighter margin, but in the end, it's the same because you compete with more. So yeah,
Yeah, but
not an opinion
from a
about that yet.
from a feeling, do you care that you're finished like fourth, or is it just like, I'm in, awesome?
Yeah, for me it was just like I'm in, it's good because yeah, like until the last event, I didn't know if I would be fourth or ninth or 15th. Okay, until the last event it was good, but I want to say like you never know where you will end because everything
Yeah.
can change so fast with one bad event in your hands or not in your hands. So yeah, I was just glad I made it. And so yeah.
No, absolutely. And did you know coming in that you have a shot at the qualifying spots, or what was your expectations up front?
um, well, the the hard thing about expectations is that you never know how good your competition is. Like I did some simulations and we had the advantage in Europe to have like 3 or 4 weeks in advance to know the workouts,
Mm.
to have some scores to compare with other games athletes. So there I knew like some workouts I can do pretty well compared to them. But yeah, it's still Europe, so maybe Europe is a lot fitter, is not fitter, you don't know. So maybe Europe is fitter in certain events and other events where you would have done well in the States, you don't do well in Europe. So you basically never know. You know what you can do, and you can just hope it's enough.
Did you know when you had this, like you said, you had the previous times from all the other regions? Did you know that you can win events?
Um, I thought I would have had a shot to like, I had the idea I could top three or top five some events, but like I said, yeah, you never know what the others are capable of. It only takes one person to do something very well, and yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, you never know.
But that was really amazing. Like I think I watched some American podcasts in preparation. I think you've been on one talking elite fitness, and but I watched some other podcasts during the semifinals when I was home, and there are some guys who call you they call you Europe's Brent Fikowski from 2015.
Yeah, I heard that as well. It was pretty funny, and they even posted a reel or something about it. And
Really?
Fikowski replied, "Yeah, these are my people." I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, there are some weird theories that are going on.
But it's not a bad comparison to be around, you know?
No, I'm not surprised that they compare me to Fikowski. Like, there are a lot of similarities. If they would compare me with Golden Mertens, then there would be something wrong.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
I am 1 meter 90.
Oh man, that will be fun when you're standing next to Colton Mertens at the games at some event.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, but I thought like this comparison, like it doesn't give you enough credit because they basically told like, yeah, he looks like a Brent Fikowski from 2015, but 2015, you know, Brent was struggling to get to the games. I don't know when he first made it, but back then he was an athlete. He could smash some events, usually like the chipper stuff, but
Mhm.
he didn't make it to the games. So I think the comparison that doesn't give you enough credit because you already made it. But how many years have you tried to get to the games?
Try it like every year, but the last years were more realistic than the first years. But yeah, since I started, it was like I think like every competitor in CrossFit, the dream to once be there. So yeah, I'm training pretty seriously since like I started CrossFit 7, 8 years ago.
Mhm.
Not at the same volume I'm doing now, but like
Yeah.
everything step by step, which was needed at the time. And yeah,
How have you found this sport?
I well, there was just like CrossFit box that started nearby, and I was still doing judo. So did a drop in once, and yeah. was directly sold by the sport.
Oh man. Do you know your first workout? That's always a tricky question.
No, it was just a team workout that I did with a friend, but I know it involved a lot of strongman and with the heavy tires and everything, and that's what I liked. Coming from judo, like doing the grunt work, and I suffered a lot, and I think that's what made me, yeah, in love with the sport.
That's an interesting background, like judo. Like I have a question for I think I ask this question every guest, and that's pretty interesting. In your perspective as an ex-judo, what is mentally more exhausting, the clock or other athletes when it comes to the training or competition?
The clock, uh,
Like training against yourself, like in the gym, or at the competition against other people?
mm, well, I don't know. I like the both. Also in competition, I'm mostly not focused on like other competitors. I most of the time have a strategy going into an event, and I'm most focused on that. And if you are very confident and you are in the zone and you feel it might be tight, then I start to look around. But if I have a very fixed strategy, I don't pay too much attention on other competitors.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like if you play the sport like with contact with the opponent, you have to beat him. Yeah, it's totally different. I think at CrossFit you have to be you already almost have to be in your zone. Like you have to do your thing. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe like Fraser and Froning, they always looked around and played some mind games. I think, but
Hmm.
but basically everybody is like better than when they're like focused on themselves.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
completely different. Judo is like, yeah, you know your techniques, you have a fighting style, but you never know what the other opponent will do, and it's basically not, you cannot strategize it. You can prepare a certain fighting style because you know he has some very strong moves, and you can set yourself up that he cannot use these moves. But yeah, one misstep and it can be over. Also for the other one, it's also never guaranteed if you're a world champion that you will win from a lower level. It happens a lot. That, but in CrossFit, when you're like Matt Fraser at his peak, he can basically show up at every competition, and yeah, he will probably win it. But in judo, it's not this way.
You started as a child, judo?
I started as at 10 years old. It's basically late to start judo. Most of the athletes start at 3, 4, like as a kid
Wow.
playing, and so starting at 10 is pretty late, and you have some yeah solid work to catch up techniques and to get used to it, but it's still okay.
Is it good to be a 1 meter 90 guy in judo?
Yeah, you're definitely less punished than in some CrossFit workouts because it's also a weight classes, and
Oh yeah.
people from my weight are, yeah, 10 centimeters bigger or lower, but there you have like the same type of people against each other. So, but yeah, it has advantages and disadvantages to have the long arms and long legs.
For sure, man. Were the pull-up bars in Berlin high enough, or did you scrap the floor?
No, I scraped the floor a lot.
Man, that is so. I think this discussion is so insane. I don't know why they can't just maybe they could just have like two or three pull-up bars which are just higher, you know?
Yeah,
It's so easy to set up. I don't get that. It's so
I
crazy.
was on a podcast with Adrian Conway, like, but I think it's not released yet. And he was also talking like, why don't they create? It cannot be rocket science to create like a
Yeah, sure.
adjustable barbell where you just plug
Mm.
in the the spots, and
Mm.
you have like, yeah, there's always like 5, 6 minutes transition time between every event where you can adjust your rower, adjust your
Yeah,
echo bike,
just click
whatever,
it.
and just pull it off and put it at your height you want, and yeah, you're fine.
Man, that's some
Because
serious like advertising for Rogue. They should invent that shit, man. That would
it
sell.
it
That
happens
would
already.
sell.
It exists. It just don't exist in competition rigs. But you basically adjustable barbells. It's nothing new.
Man, they should do that. So,
I'm a
what is
fan.
the goal? What is the goal for the games, man? Do you have a goal, or are you just I'm going with the flow, it's my first games, I'm taking it all in?
No, I. It's hard to put a goal on placements because I never did a competition with the 40 best CrossFitters at the world. But yeah, my goal is of course to. I want to bring home at least one event, like where I see like these are movements that suit me well, and yeah, that would be nice to take an event win. That's like because I think I'm still not balanced out enough to like battle for the real top spots,
Mhm.
but some pieces of my fitness I think are fit enough to bring home one of the 12, 13 events.
Are you a semifinal or a games athlete in your eyes?
Games. I'm saying it basically since I started CrossFit that like because I'm not an open athlete, not a quarterfinals athlete, because it's like everything inside, limited space, very packed, the same, yeah, open style workouts. And
Yep.
I'm like mate, and I enjoy a lot of the game stuff, like the strongman, the pigs, the swim, the run, the bike. So everything, all these things, they don't happen in opens or so. Yeah, I think it will be fun there.
So it's harder for you to get in than at the games you can just be free, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. Like I always see this trend, like when I try to qualify for a competition or when I do quarters, I'm like always struggling to qualify, struggling to get in, and then I think I never finished the competition lower than I qualified. So it's because at the competition itself, you always have it's more complete. You have all the stuff,
Interesting.
and yeah,
Which placement did you took at quarterfinals this year?
42 or 44, early
Okay.
40s. 42, because then two people dropped out and I was then 40, so I was in the second heat for the first event. So yeah.
Interesting. Interesting, man. Yeah, that's interesting. When did you when did you made when did you make the switch to the no shortcuts training?
I started beginning December last year.
Oh, that's fast, man.
So yeah, 6 months in or something.
Yeah, it's so interesting for me. I think no shortcuts training, they really made a big splash at the European semifinal this year. Like
Yeah.
the team, the individual athletes. Like, and I had Andre on a few months ago, and he
Hmm.
seems so committed to me to create like the best training program out there, period. Like he doesn't even want it to be like the best in Europe or something. He just wants to build the best fucking training program out there. And it's so interesting for me. Like this is the first year where you really see like fruits of that. And it
Hmm.
was like really impressing me. How is working with him?
Yeah, it's a very good coach. It's actually our personalities do match a lot. He's like very
Mm.
dedicated. He also the kind of person if he set his shoulders under a certain idea, or like you said, he wants to build the biggest training camp. I'm sure he will do it. Not when, but he will get there. And it's like my goal was also like to go to the games, and I never been to semis. And when I told him like, because first started with the podium chaser, the general programming, just to check
Mhm.
out how things were, and like I like structure a lot, but I felt like I need some more specific stimuli for my weaknesses. So I got in touch with Andre, and he said like, "What is your goal?" I said, "Yeah, Games 2023." And he didn't say like, "Oh, is that not like too high or too?" Because you never went to semis. It was like, "Okay, let's do this." And I got a plan like 1 week or 2 weeks after for like the coming 6 months. Everything was already dialed in, and yeah, it's I appreciate a lot of structure, and it makes things a lot of easier because yeah, I have a busy life, and if you know already like weeks before what you need to do, yeah, it brings a lot of ease of mind and makes you feel prepared.
Yeah, that sounds interesting, man. When I think about that, when I hear stories like that, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking, Andre, why are you building up your competition? Because he
Yeah.
basically he told me like he's going team this year to be a better individual next year. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking, why are you building up your competition? he just start the training protocol like after he's done.
Yeah, that's something I also took in mind. Like I heard some rumor that he was going team, and I'm not sure if I want to be coached with like your direct competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, if he goes individual again next year, and he will handle it with professionalism and everything, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
better to have like
that's also a thing. Do you you guys like training under him? Do you hope that he's going team next year again?
but in the end you learn a lot so much from him, and like he has the same values, and yeah, I think I wouldn't mind actually. There are 39 other people to beat, so
Is there is this a thing? Is there like a an athlete who coaches another athlete at the games? I can't think of.
at games level,
I think back in the days when Froning was around, he worked out with James Hobart. He didn't train James Hobart, but they worked out together and met at the games. But I can't think of something lately.
there are a lot like training partners
Yeah.
at games level, but they're really like coached. I don't think so.
Interesting, man. Is there any like are you the first Belgium man qualifier other than the 2019 year with the national championships?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like in this format, I think I'm the first Belgian man. Um, there were some Belgian women before me,
Yeah,
but I don't know the full history of CrossFit, but I looked for it and I didn't find another male that made it like yeah, not via national championship.
that's interesting. Do you have any connections with Magnon?
Yes, it's actually because of
She's
Manon that I got in touch with Andre, and
really? Yeah, that was what I'm asking about because she trains also at No Shortcuts.
I started like a few weeks after her. Um, so yeah, she lives 3 hours from me. We live like in the two complete opposite parts of Belgium. So 3 hours is still far from each other, but sometimes we manage to train together in the middle. So yeah,
How is how's the competitive field like in Belgium? Do we have a lot of good guys, or do you have to travel to to
uh,
Magnon's place or somewhere else?
no, I do most of the training alone. We have like a decent level or national level, but it's not like in the States where you have like 10 games
Mm,
athletes in certain regions. No, we don't have that here. But also I don't need, I'm not a person that need like to be pushed every day.
yeah.
I have my plan. I know what to do. I know which intentions there are for every workout. Of course, you can push always a little bit more with an athlete, but I certainly not need it daily.
When did you realize, oh, you found CrossFit like 8 something years ago, and when did you realize, oh, I'm actually good at this? I want to compete.
Uh, I want to compete. That was the first month after I started CrossFit. That was my first competition. And then I realized that I sucked very hard. And then I, yeah, started a training program and yeah, looking why I sucked so hard, fixing every point at that stage. Like, I know in the beginning, like, a major issue was my mobility. Like in judo, you are just used to, yeah, grab
Be tight,
everything
yeah.
to you. And like if your arm is like straight and above your head, then it's maybe not, probably not good.
That's not good.
It's
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, like opening up for weightlifting, and my coach then in the box told me like, man, you have to start doing mobility, and it was like first thing I did. I downloaded an app and I did it like 20 minutes a day. I woke up like every day 20 minutes earlier to do my mobility, and I saw a lot of increase by doing that. And it's just like it's not always training, training, training. It's sometimes you also have to fix the other things, your mobility, your sleep, your food, and
Mm.
yeah, you don't have the opportunity to realize that directly from the start.
Yeah, I guess. And because like CrossFit is so like, if you first get into it, it's so pleasing to just go hard all the time.
Yeah,
I
indeed.
think you I think you said it in another podcast that you even train less these days. So you optimize your sleep and um food a little
No,
bit.
I reduced my work schedule. So
Okay, but work schedule.
2 years ago, I worked 80%, and since this year, I'm working 60%. But I didn't really increase my workload that I had to do in training. It's just like, yeah, improving all the things around, like getting proper 8 hours of sleep minimum every night, like making my own food. Um, yeah, every workout also has an intention, so eliminating junk volume. And yeah, if you don't do it with an intention, I don't do it at all. So yeah, with this mindset, I think I made a lot of improvements.
I guess so, man. Why do you think you compete at all?
I need it. I'm a competitor since I don't know. I cannot think back since it's in my nature to be, yeah, sensitive to challenges. And yeah, I don't know.
Do you have a brother or a sister?
Yes, I have one brother, younger brother.
Oh man. And were you guys like competitive against each other?
Always.
That's
We
the reason,
cannot
man. I'm telling you, that's the reason.
we cannot do something for fun. And I was like 5 years older, so yeah, he cried.
He cried a lot.
He made them maybe cry a lot for because I didn't realize I'm 5 years older. Sometimes you have to let your little brother win. No, you
Mm.
smash him every time with competition.
It's the same for me, man. I have also like a younger stepbrother. I have two younger stepbrothers, but with one I had really good contact, and it was the same. Like I always smashed him. But now there comes a time that it's not an advantage anymore that I'm older because he smashes me in workouts because he's younger.
Okay.
Now it's the opposite, and that sucks, man. But yeah, mm, yeah, man. I'm already I'm already at the end of my questions. I'm really excited for you at the games. I'm really excited for you at the games because I always enjoy like home run hitters, you know. You said that you think you're not at the level yet to be good at everything, but I think you're on the way to that. But I'm always like enjoying like people who could just smash an event.
Mhm.
That's why I'm excited for you. That's why I'm excited for like Bronislav from Europe also. Like he could smash like some weightlifting event. And yeah,
Yes, that's true. That's actually that has been like a big advantage for me in terms of getting some exposure or more like followers on Instagram and everything, because in the end it does matter for sponsors. And
yep,
like hitting a solid home run is sometimes better to have some publicity than like by example Hendrik Haapelainen, who was second. He did an amazing competition,
yeah.
like everything top 10, but
He goes
yeah,
under the radar.
yeah, he goes under the radar. And in some way I felt like bad for him because like fuck, give this guy also a spotlight. He did
Yeah,
amazing. And but yeah, when you're supposed to be a home run hitter, the eyes are on you. Like if Guy Maleros joins a lifting event, nobody looks to somebody else in that heat. All eyes
yep.
are on him, and that makes it fun.
I think Hendrik can like kill himself on an assault bike at the games, and everybody will be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah,
That's his moment. Otherwise, he's gonna go under the radar. But I think that he's good with that.
yeah, he's also a big guy.
Yeah, he is. I think this semifinal was really. There were a lot of big guys who made it, and a lot of tall guys.
Yeah, I think
It's interesting.
if you take the average of the height and compare it to all the other years, it's like especially for Europe, we are like with a lot of big guys.
Yeah, man, man. Thanks for coming on. I
It's a
maybe
pleasure.
bug you again, but don't feel any pressure. You're
No worries.